Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Flip Side Podcast. I'm your host, Retro Ralph, and today we're going to talk all about Jaws 50th. Everyone's all excited about it. Well, I mean, some people are. And on this, if you know, you know. But we're going to dive right into it because the community reaction is kind of split. But you know what? The way I see this is... Excuse me while I eat this pop. The way I see it is, I'm sorry for those of you listening on audio, I'm eating one of those bomb pops, you know, the red, white, and blue ones, for no particular reason, other than they taste really good, but, okay. Oh my gosh, I gotta take this off. Oh my gosh, that's incredible, I gotta take that off. All right, let's get back into podcast form, put the hat back on, get the headphones on. I'm pumped up. Let's go! Let's go! Let's do it! Yes! Jaws 50th, come on! All right, what's not to like? You got a Keith Elwin game that everyone just loves. And now they're gonna make another version of it? Holy moly! Let's do it. All right, let's dive in. Okay, I am so sorry. I am just like shot out of a cannon right now. But anyways, look. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to discuss. But before we do, I just want to let you know that this show that you're watching or listening to right now is sponsored by Flippin' Out Pinball, where you can get new and used pinball machines and you can trade your pinball machines in. And here's a quick word from our sponsor before we get started. Are you looking for a new pinball machine, a used pinball machine, or to trade in your old pinball machine for something new? Look no further than Flippin' Out Pinball. They can handle all your pinball needs, they ship anywhere in the United States, and they will give you the best experience in the business. Check out the link to Flippin' Out Pinball in the video description for more information. Now, back to the video. Okay, so this has been long rumored for a little while that because Stern had... the Jaws license and released Jaws Pinball not that long ago, it kind of makes sense that at the 50th anniversary, they would do something special to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the movie. Now, keep in mind, they did do this also for Godzilla 70th. They did it for Elvira. They did a bunch of these, or several of these, over the years. It's something that they do, but keep in mind, there was some sort of feedback, some negative feedback on things like this because... if they make this version of the game too nice, then it might impact, people that had purchased the LE versions. And so we'll get into a little bit of that. But anyways, before we even start, let's set a baseline. We'll watch the trailer. We'll discuss it a little bit. I'll tell you what I like. I'll tell you what I don't like. But before we do that, honestly, let's slow down for a minute. I do think this is an amazing game. There's no debating that. Jaws has been a huge success for Stern. As a matter of fact, Zach and Nicole Minnie, who sponsor this show, I was talking to Zach last week and I asked him, I said, Zach, how's Harry Potter selling? And he's like, he's selling great. And he goes, but you know what's weird? And this was a couple weeks ago or last week. He's like, I'm selling a ton of Jawses right now. Like for some reason, there was like an influx of Jaws. Now, I don't know if it's because the anniversary, and there was a lot of stuff going on with the anniversary. If you followed, like Universal Studios did a bunch of stuff. Is it Universal? Yeah, I think so. They did a bunch of stuff. I watched a whole video online about all of these cool things. They it is Universal. They took pieces from the ride and distributed it throughout the park, and they had so much cool nostalgia stuff for the Jaws ride. And if you've ever been to Universal, the Jaws ride is awesome. I don't know if it's still there, but basically, you drive the tram and he comes up out of the water. As a little kid, this was so cool to see. But anyways, so what was I even talking about? See, I'm so excited right now. I don't even know. Anyway, the community reaction has been sort of mixed, but this is something that I think we saw coming because obviously they have the license and everything. So we're gonna watch this video on the trailer. Now, keep in mind, right now, as it stands, you can still get Jaws machines. So if you wanted to get a Jaws Premium, you can get it. If you want to get it a Jaws Pro, you could get it. For the most part, the LE has been sold out. That sold out right away, and it still is one of those machines that continues to hold its value, which is great. So if you're an LE owner and you own one, you probably can get, top dollar for it, which is good. We like to see pinball machines holding their value. So let's get into the trailer really quick. We're going to dissect it a little bit, and I'm going to give you some of my the things I like, the things I don't like. Now, I did do a live stream on it, but I had to do it really quickly, and I really didn't have a chance to digest everything. I showed it to Kim because Kim actually really likes Jaws, my wife. And so I was like, let me get your opinion on it too. And she kind of started getting me to look at this a little bit differently. So I've been, despite the I was shot out of the cannon coming into this, I'm calmed down now, and I'm really just sort of focused on what is this? What is this all about? What do we like? What do we don't like? But the thing is, at surface level, it's a new version of a game that's awesome. So no one should refute that. It's a great game. Now, what we're talking about are really aesthetics. So some are going to like it and some are not going to like it. And it seems so far that the community is kind of split in half. And that's kind of normal, right? Because artwork and things like that are rather subjective. Some people like certain colors and all that. So, anyways, let's dive into it.
Hey everybody, it's George Gomez here at Stern Pinball, and we're excited.
I'm going to keep the volume kind of low so we can just... So here's the initial view of it. As soon as you see it, there's a couple things. There's something that I don't like right off the bat, and I didn't really absorb this when I was watching it earlier because I was rushing. Is that this is the image of the game? All right. First of all, it's iconic because it's the movie poster. I mean, it's basically a giant version of the movie poster in several different forms all over the cabinet, which kind of makes sense because the movie poster is super iconic for this, and this being the 50th anniversary of the movie, it kind of makes sense. So I get why they chose the movie poster. So if we start with the back glass, before I kind of continue with the video, the translate is really cool in my opinion because that is the iconic movie poster. Now, the pro version of this cabinet had a similar back glass to this, but this one I think is reimagined a bit, and I think it's really cool. So right off the bat, the back glass is super cool to me. Now, the side of the back box, I'm not as excited about because if you remember on, I believe it's the pro version. It's either I can't remember which version it is. I'll have to dig in and to my memory bank here just so I can remember. But the other version of it had a logo, and I think it was like a repeat of the movie poster on the side. I just feel like the side could have had something cool. Like maybe they could have put like the 50th logo at the top of the back box. There is a 50th logo, but you only see it in the beginning of this video, I think. Let's see if I can go back and we'll play it really quick because I think it's in the beginning of this. Yeah, there it is. So that 50th anniversary logo is kind of cool. So I don't know why that seemed like an opportunity to maybe put that on the back box. It's literally nowhere. So it's nowhere to be found on this thing. I don't see it anywhere. I don't see it on the playfield. I don't see it anywhere. I think the only place it is, well, there is one place actually, and we'll talk about it in a minute because it was kind of an interesting design choice. So in the other things you see, obviously a very much a standout of the red armor, and the red armor is okay, but it is very loud. And with the white, when you look at the ocean side for the side art, the sky is so white, and I don't know if that's just this picture, but you're kind of seeing like the horizon line, and I feel like it makes it look a little bit off to me. Like it's almost like I would have rather had the water or something else that filled up the whole area, because it does kind of make it look weird to me. But I don't dislike it. It's just not my favorite. Like I prefer the side art on every other version of this game more than this, which is kind of not that great because, they're trying to sell this as something unique and different. I don't dislike it. The other thing that I noticed, there's no foiled artwork, and I think that was something really cool that they've done in the past. They did it on Godzilla 70th, and everyone really liked it. Like Godzilla 70th, people freaked out. They're like, "Oh man, should I get rid of my color version for that?" So there's that. And then there's some obvious things like you don't see. They didn't do a shooter rod, which makes sense because this is a premium. Just so you know, everyone's like, and I'm going to compare it to the LE a little bit too. But the thing is, this is not an LE. It's a premium. It costs the same amount as a premium. So when I'm thinking about it that way, it makes sense that you wouldn't put more on it other than the little, like, kind of little things, accents that they did. Sorry, let's leave it at that. Now, I'll go through it because I do want to talk about the color scheme a little bit because, I joked about the bomb pop or whatever, but anyways, let's keep going. So here's a closer view of the back box. Now, on the back box, like I said, there's like that random shark fin on the side of the back box, and I just don't know what they were thinking with that. I feel like that, if there's anything that stands out as something I'm not feeling it's that side. It's just sort of weird to me. I think it could have been better, but whatever. Okay, could have been better.
machine.
But I love the translate. The translate is very cool.
To mark this golden anniversary, we've crafted
So they have the same armor that you would find on the premium, right? It has like sort of that the side armor comes down so it covers sort and protects the area around the buttons, the flipper buttons. So that's cool. So it's the same armor as the premium, and I think the pro has that same armor on it too. So it doesn't have the shark bite, you know. So they decided that we'd keep that unique with the LE, which makes total sense. And outside of that, it's the same, right? It's the same kind of armor. It's just powder coated red, which looks really nice. It's just it's very loud. But hey, you know what? It's Jaws, and the red is interesting because people were complaining about the red. But if you think about it, right? Let's talk about the color scheme of the poster of Jaws. You have the ocean blue, you've got the blood red, which is the Jaws logo, right? And then you have white and gray. So if you look at it, they stayed true to the poster. So even though I'm critiquing it a bit, it is very true to the poster. So it is iconic in that sense that I don't feel like this was that weird of a design choice because it completely follows the color pattern of the primary colors of the poster and all the promotional materials around the original Jaws movie.
this Jaws 50th anniversary premium edition
Okay, let's dive in a little
that
bit more
highlights
here.
some really special cosmetic
So,
features. The playfield
the playfield obviously stayed the same, except there's this new glitter enhanced artwork. Now, I gotta say, when you watch the video, you do see it a little bit. Like you kind of see it right here, but I don't think they did a great job highlighting it in the video. But I do think that's cool. This is kind of like something that I don't know that Stern's ever done this, but Jersey Jack has. If you look at the latest Harry Potter, the CE, it has glitter to the artwork, and it's really cool. It's very, very apparent on Harry Potter. I don't see it that well here, but that could just be that they didn't shoot it in the best conditions to kind of highlight it. But they tried to here. It's just you don't really see it that much. But I do think that's kind of a cool, that's kind of a cool little like addition if if you find value in that. But I think that could be kind of neat. It just you just aren't quite seeing it. The other thing, or it doesn't come through in the camera, at least the way they shot it. The other thing is cool is this brass powder coated, the brass powder coated wire form ramps. I think this is pretty cool because if you think about it, and this was something someone else brought up. I didn't, I didn't come to this conclusion myself, but I do. It does make sense, and it's kind of cool. I wasn't thinking of it this way, but maybe they were trying to say, boats have a lot of of that type of boat, like has a lot of brass on it. That could be a kind of a cool little like. I think it complements it well, and I think the brass looks good against the blue of the playfield. So it is cool. It has like a really classy look to it. Now this doesn't look as good as like what JJP just did with Harry Potter. That looks insanely cool and it's just really shiny. This is kind of more of like a matte. It doesn't look super shiny, but it still looks pretty nice.
that make it really pop.
So I think that's a cool addition. No, George is saying it makes it pop. This thing is kind of funny. I don't know. It's just weird. Like to get people hype about a sticker. I don't know, but it is unique where like you're getting something that you don't usually get. What would have been kind of cool is maybe if that translate was like a mirrored translate. And I know that is something they normally do on an LE, but that would have been kind of cool maybe instead of the sticker. The sticker obviously doesn't cost them a whole lot to do, but whatever. It's just a holographic sticker. It's not anything that is all that unique. Now, just back, we're seeing the back box again. I really do love this back box. I think it looks really nice. The cabinet decals are new cabinet decals, obviously, as I said earlier. But here's the thing. I just wish they could have made it foiled. I think that could have really popped. Like imagine Jaws in that foiled look. There's probably a reason why they didn't do that. I'm thinking if they're sticking to the same build of materials as a typical premium, they're already probably a little bit over budget when you start looking at the brass wire forms and then the glittered artwork. So they probably had to make a concession somewhere. And I guess they decided, hey, we're not going to do foil on this one because it does seem to be a standard that they're doing. They do call it a blood red armor kit, which makes sense because that's how, if you look at like style guide information and things about the original Jaws logo, I believe they do use that term blood red, that's the color. So kind of makes sense that they would call it out as blood red armor kit. The whole thing is covered in that armor, obviously. You got the lock bar, the legs, the side, everything, the hinges. So I do now this is where it gets kind of cool because this is a benefit to all Jaws owners is that they finally got to version 1.0 of the software. So hey, if you see nothing of this announcement other than if you don't even care and you don't even want to buy this, there's still value to you because they decided to update the code for this. So you're gonna have co-op play. You're gonna have 2 versus 2, 3 versus 1, which is really cool. Now, I don't have any friends, so I'm never going to be able to play that. But if I did have friends, how awesome would that be? Maybe I need to make some friends. I'll go to Electric Bat next Tuesday. I'm like, hey, I know this is weird, but do you want to come to my house to play Jaws? We can play co-op. It's going to be awesome. Now, they're either going to look at me really funny and be like, no, or they'll be like, yeah, hey, this is so fun. Let's play together. So I don't know. But that is cool because it benefits everybody that already has a Jaws. And speaking of already having a Jaws, if you already have one, you don't have to sell it. You don't have to get rid of it. You could just be excited for someone else that might end up getting this version that has never had it before. That's kind of my take on it. It is interesting, but if you don't like the color scheme, here's what's awesome. The Pro and the Premium are still available, so it's not like you have to buy this one or whatever, or this is the only one that's available to you. This is just, hey, if you're a super fan, you really love the movie, I think this it screams the movie on the artwork, so that's pretty cool. So the other thing too is there's a new wizard mode. I don't know that they ever had a final wizard mode coded into Jaws, but I think you're going to have two. So there's going to be two new wizard modes, including the final wizard mode, which is really cool, which I think I think it's going to be you son of a bitch wizard mode or something like that. So, hey, there it is. Actually, the funny thing is this last shot makes it look the best. I think the light is a little subdued in this one. So I like it the most in this shot. I feel like sometimes when you put too much light on things, like when they do these kinds of trailers, they put a lot of light on the stuff. They put a lot of light on the playfield. And it always looks a bit different. And I do remember when the Godzilla 70th came out, there was like mixed reactions to that too. And it made its debut at Southern Fried Gaming Expo, even though that wasn't like the official debut of the Godzilla 70th. I fell in love with it. I was like, I have to have this. So I don't have that same reaction to this version. I'm not like, oh my God, I need to trade in my Jaws. Like, so if I know everyone here thinks I'm a psycho and I'm gonna buy everything, but I'm not getting this. But I do think I'm happy for someone that's a Jaws fan that is looking for a Jaws machine. Now you can get one that's kind of cool and unique. And here's the thing, Stern's only going to make this between now and the end of the year. That's what they've said. So you kind of got like 6 months of it being available. So I don't know, in 6 months, how many of these are they going to make? Maybe it's probably going to be under 1,000, I would think. Maybe. They're not giving a number, but they stopped making Godzilla 70ths. So those they didn't make for very long either. So if you have a Godzilla 70th, and I don't see those go up for sale very often too, by the way. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know. That's interesting, actually. I got to ask Josh over at Loser Kid because he's always following prices. Although I'm not actively looking at used games that often, I wonder what a Godzilla 70th goes for because this might fall into that category too. If they don't make that many of them, it might hold its value. So I don't know, kind of cool. But overall, I don't dislike it. It's just not something that makes me want to sell the one I have. But hey, maybe Stern's not looking to do that. Maybe this is more of a, hey, we know people love Jaws. There's super fans of Jaws everywhere. We can get some of that audience that wants that game that just screams the movie. And I think this probably does. It's very bold. It's probably a little too bold for me personally, but I do like it. I think it's cool. I got to see that glittered artwork a little bit closer, or the glitter in the artwork, because the way JJP did it with Harry Potter CE looks really good. Not that this podcast is about Harry Potter, but I've been playing a lot of Harry Potter. I have a live stream of it on the channel. I have the featurette that I did for Jersey Jack, which I'm very proud of, by the way. If you've never seen it, please go check it out. I'd appreciate it. And I have a new appreciation for Jersey Jack because I really didn't buy many of their games. Actually, I didn't buy any of their games until more recently. And I just got to say that it's different. Jersey Jack makes games different. They focus their time and effort on different things. And so a lot of times people are like this versus that, but I feel like they kind of have sort of tried to carve out their own niche, or whatever, however you want to say that word. They have kind of carved out their own section of the market where it's like we're a premium brand. We don't cut corners on things. There's lots of sculpts, less flat plastics. They focus on very large IPs that are expensive, and I'm really loving Harry Potter. Like they've done a lot to it, and the code is only on .75 or 7.6 right now. And they just did a code update. They just did several code updates since it dropped. They did like two. There's actually a third one, but I think it was buggy and they just sort of skipped over that version and they never really advertised it on their site. So at this point, I think it's 7.6p at the time of filming this, which is July 2nd, Wednesday, July 2nd at 7:52 Pacific Standard Time. But they are listening to the audience because there is something that we're going to probably try to stream it tomorrow. So that'd be Thursday, July 3rd. We're going to try to stream it tomorrow because I want to stream it with the new code. They've done some leveling of the audio throughout the whole game. There's still some issues, but there's some things they did where they raised the audio of the movie clips because the movie clips weren't muted. They were just, I mean, there are times where they do show muted clips, but a lot of the clips, the audio is there. It's just that the audio is lowered. And they raised the audio on some of the key moments, movie moments, which I think has really changed. And this is only just preliminary. They just did a little bit of this, but I feel like it changed the overall vibe of the game, which is pretty cool. So, anyways, getting back to Jaws and pivoting back to that, because I don't want this to be a super long podcast today. I think here's my like final thoughts on it. Jaws is an amazing game. It's a great, great game. Anybody that plays it usually loves it. It has amazing flow. The shots and layout is great. It's very approachable for someone that's new or someone that's seasoned. The code is great. There's a lot to chew on in the code. And now they just went to 1.0. So now they made even more enhancements. There's more achievements in the game, which I'm kind of happy about because I think I got most of the achievements. But still, I still have not gotten as far through the game as I thought I would. But now there's a final wizard mode to look forward to, and there's some cooperative play new stuff. Not only that, you have The Shark is Broken, you have Jaws the Revenge, you have the 4th of July celebration. Like there's a bunch of other things that this game does. So overall value in pinball, like this is a good value because there's a lot of software there to chew on, and the game is fun. And it's definitely got that one more game feel to it. And I don't think in the last 5 years or so, there's a better movie theme integrated game than this one. I don't know when Hobbit came out, but maybe Hobbit would be the other one that I would think of where I'm like, oh my gosh, the movie integration is great. Now, one that gets beat up all the time that I think also has great movie integration, it's just they need to work on the code, is John Wick. I know John Wick was trying to, I think with Stern, when they made that game, they were trying to connect with a different audience. I love the John Wick movies, so I was very excited to hear that John Wick was coming out. There are others that were not as excited, right? Because they're looking for themes like Predator, themes like, Harry Potter. Like they're looking for these other, maybe not even Harry Potter, but, 80s themes, things like Goonies or G.I. Joe and things like that. So I do think that John Wick would be an outlier to that, right? Because it's very modern. But the thing is, I kind of feel bad because that game is a hard game. That's for sure. It's a brutal game. The shots are tight. You got to be accurate with your shots. But the code really was holding it back, I think. It's not going to stop the fact that the game is a hard game, right? The shots are kind of tight. It's a little bit harder. It does take some practice to get good at it. But now that Mike Vinokur is on the code, I do think they're going to really turn that game around. But that game, if you are a fan of the movie, try it. Like play the game. The theme, holy crap, the call outs in that game are awesome. The call outs are great. They integrated the movie clips for like battle sequences and stuff. I think they did a great job, and I bet they're going to add even more of that in because when they first launched that game, there was a lot of content that they said they had. They had like all the 4K movie content, and I think they had it all with the audio separated, so they could basically pair the soundtrack audio, not the soundtrack, but the audio of the actors with everything, with all those clips that they have, so that they're all audio synced clips. The reason why that's important is because I don't think they got the rights to all the music, hence why it has its own soundtrack. Can't remember who did the soundtrack on it, but that soundtrack totally nailed, and Stern doesn't always nail the soundtrack, but it totally nailed the John Wick vibe. So, anyways, I kind of hope that I like seeing games get a rebirth. Like we have the new code updates for Uncanny X-Men. We have the new code updates for John Wick, and it looks like they are serious about building up these games and making them something great. You know, because Uncanny X-Men especially was like a tragedy to me because the game layout was so good. It was such a neat and unique. It was very risky, in my opinion, to make something like that. And I think initially when it launched at Expo, everyone was really excited. Now they didn't because it's new, right? It was new, so the excitement was there. It was X-Men. It was beautiful. The artwork on the CE of X-Men is absolutely stunning. I'm bummed I sold it actually because I do have faith that they are going to make that game great with code because it doesn't need it. It's great layout. Like the layout is awesome, but I really do think that they're going to make that game a game that's deserving, right? That game deserved to have great code. Jack Danger is a great designer. And so I do feel good. So that's also some great news. Like Stern is going back and investing in some of these games. Everyone was beating up Jaws. It's not at 1.0. Boom. It's at, it's at 1.0 now. Boom. I just broke my desk. A piece of my desk just came off. But seriously, they're kind of dropping the mic when it comes to going back. And now there's other schools of thought. Some people will be like, hey, I want the game to be more Jersey Jack, right? I want them to have the code at a further point when the game releases. I can't really refute that. I wish they would do that too. The state of the state right now is Stern releases a game and the code is usually not quite there and you got to wait, right? King Kong is at that point right now. It's very fun to shoot, but the code is kind of like in flux, right? There isn't a lot of the animations in there that would make it, feel a little more full. I mean, if you go and play King Kong and then you play Godzilla, you're like, oh my gosh, there was so much ancillary content with Godzilla to really tie you in. I'm a sucker for Blue Oyster Cult. So when that building goes down, dude, that's still a moment that I love no matter how many times it happens. I don't feel like right now, and maybe I haven't like progressed through King Kong as much, right? I don't so maybe there's a moment, but I haven't seen that moment in King Kong where you're like, dude, this is sick. I haven't seen that yet. But the shots are super fun. So we'll see. I'm not gonna be knee jerk and get rid of King Kong. I really like it. I just think it needs a little bit of love on the code, but it's early, and that's what I'm trying to say is that a lot of times you're an early adopter to one of these Stern games. I see people often sell, and I've done this before too. They sell it off before it evolves. That's just something to know if you get into it. Now I hope that Stern starts to change that. I would love it personally if Stern released less games per year, like maybe two in a remaster, because then they could make them more code complete at launch. I don't think they need to make four. I get concerned about four because you have Stern making four, Jersey Jack making one, Spooky making one, Barrels of Fun making one, Pinball Brothers making one. Like that starts to add up. You're like, okay, American Pinball, I don't know where they're at anymore. It seems like they're out of the game. I highly, highly doubt Cuphead's coming out, but hey, maybe they're contractually obligated to get that game out. I don't know. But I just feel like Stern is pumping out so many that maybe it would be a better move for them to pump out less and make them more code complete. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you prefer it? I mean, I get hyped because there's 4 games a year, but I think it would be more consumable for the overall demographic and the pinball community to be only 2. I have to interrupt my own podcast because I don't know how I forgot this game. I just wasn't thinking about it at the time, but movie theme integrated games in the last 5 years, there's 2 that I would say completely blow it out of the water, and it'd be Jaws and Evil Dead. I am sorry, Spooky Pinball. I don't know how I forgot that because that game is a game that I actually right now, still in 2025, is my favorite game. Harry Potter's close, but man, you guys just nailed that game. You nailed the theme integration. It is so good. Great conversation, I think. Fun to talk about. But by the way, I'm upset with all you guys about something. I have not got a voicemail in weeks. I want the next show. Please prove to me that, number one, you actually watch and listen to the show. And hit the link in the video description. It's super easy to leave me a voicemail. Ask me questions. Do whatever. The other thing I wanted to ask you really quick is I used to do a ton of live streaming on this channel, on Retro Ralph. I used to live stream all the time. I enjoy live streaming pinball. I'm having a good time with that. I just don't have as much time to do it as often. But to do a live stream like this, like where I'm just talking head, is pretty easy to do. And I would love to do more of them. If you're interested in me doing live streams, it could just be like hangouts or we discuss a topic. You know what I mean? I think it'd be kind of fun. So just let me know what you think about that. But please leave a voicemail, guys. Like, don't be shy. Ask me questions, even if it's just something about the collection I have, something about anything, whatever it might be. Try to keep it clean, but because I oftentimes don't. Now I'm gonna set myself up, but I don't screen them usually. So try to keep them clean. I do try to make sure I keep it pretty friendly, family friendly for the most part. I cuss every now and then, but I try to keep it as PG-13 as possible. But anyways, guys, that is all I wanted to talk about. I hope you all enjoyed this. This is just I mean, I feel like I'm shot out of a cannon. I'm sorry about the beginning. I was excited. I get excited about all new pinball. The fact that they even make pinball anymore is awesome, right? So I don't think this is anything to get upset about. I see some people getting upset about it, and it's like, what did you expect? Like, this is an anniversary edition of a game they already made. They're not going to change the game. They're not going to create another game, but it's just, hey, let's change the aesthetics. Let's celebrate the 50th. And if you don't like it, then what's cool is the Pro and Premium standard versions of these games that artwork are still available. So you know what I mean? Do you guys get what I'm saying? All right. I hope everyone has a great 4th of July. If you're going to listen to this, it's probably going to be on July 3rd. And if I play my cards right, you're going to get another live stream of Harry Potter. We're going to come with the costumes. We're going to come with the thunder. Boom. I'm going to actually, the last live stream, I was excited. I was slapping, I was flailing the flippers. I don't know what was going on. I was playing very aggressively. I'm going to tone it down. I'm going to play chill. You're going to see a different Ralph. And I'm going to school Rudy's ass. His Rudy Poo candy ass. You're going down, Rudy. You're going down. All right, guys, that's it. We've done it all. We've said it all. I love you. And I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you did, subscribe, put a comment below. And that's it for now, guys. We will see you on the flip side.
That's how Dad did it. That's how America does it. And it's worked out pretty well so far.
Oh, look at this. Damn you, Arizona. Pretty good, though. See you guys.